Hey everybody, welcome to episode 32 of MAME Politics. We have our favorite special guest on again, my wife Laurie Kirchner.
I don't understand why I'm a favorite. I think it's just scarcity. I don't come on the podcast.
Well, you're only the second total guest we've had on the podcast.
Ah, that's true.
But you're a fan favorite.
I bet if
so
Colin
far.
came over more often, he'd be a favorite.
So, yeah, I already played both of these games on previous episodes of MAME Politics. But they seem like really fun two-player games, and the games we're going to play today are Elevator Action Returns, made by Taito, I believe, and Ninja Spirit, which is made by Irem. And when I played them originally, didn't do so well on either game, but really admired the games, and Laurie in particular really liked what she saw in Elevator Action Returns. That was one of her requests for today. And I'm trying to push Ninja Spirit on her because it seemed like a really fun two-player game that I didn't really get a chance to fully immerse myself in. So I'm going to hop over to the chat right now, see how many people are in here. Ooh. I didn't really get it. Whoops.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going, Peter H? Good to see you. Thanks for the Valentine's Day shout out. Hey, Shane. Hey, JC. How's it going? So, yeah, I guess the biggest news right now, the thing that I was coming into this stream with was that Michael Bloomberg, I guess, is considering choosing Hillary Clinton for his running mate. And there's been teases the whole time during the 2020 primary that Hillary was going to somehow jump back into the race. This isn't really confirmed yet. It was actually an exclusive story by Matt Drudge on Drudge Report.
Oh, well, then I believe it. I was going to say, where did you get this information? Because I didn't read this morning, but I believe it. That's plausible.
I believe it too. So you actually, when you said that you believe it, you weren't being sarcastic. You think Drudge is a credible person for breaking exclusives?
Yeah, I mean, for better or worse. Yeah,
okay.
he kind of is.
Did you know he broke the Lewinsky?
Yes, I know that's his career-making moment, and he's broken a few other things. And I'm
trying to remember the last time he actually broke news. I think it might have been the Anthony Weiner.
Yeah, maybe that.
Most recent arrest, like where he actually got arrested. I don't remember. Maybe someone could refresh my memory, but Drudge rarely does that anymore, where he actually says he has an exclusive. I mean, he's mostly just an aggregator. He's still hugely influential, but apparently he's still got sources. So, yeah, that's really, really, really disturbing. Crystal Anderson says, what we're all thinking right now, we are living in someone's sick idea of a joke. Yes, we are.
Yep.
We are living in that. Hi, Furious Psyop. How's it going? Good to see you. Be nice to Furious Psyop. He's our new mod in the chat.
That's a good name.
Yeah. And I wanted to get a chance to read a personal story from one of our viewers on here about his and his own family's experience being racially profiled after 9/11. I'm hoping that I'll get a chance to read that. Laurie has to go around 5 o'clock. So if I do have time to read that today, I think it's really important for everybody to hear it. And but if I don't get to it today, I definitely will get to it tomorrow. It's very relevant to a lot of the things we've been talking about on the stream, which is sort of these stories that you don't really hear much about, but we know happened in mass after 9/11, where Muslim families all over the country, especially people from those, hostile regions like Afghanistan, Afghani immigrants, Pakistani immigrants, people from those type of countries were very profiled, like to a stronger degree. And I had one of our viewers send me a very long, detailed story about him and his family's experience being Afghani, and it's a very sad, heart-wrenching story. And I think it definitely ties into some extent to Michael Bloomberg, because in your mind, what do you mainly what do you know about stop and frisk? Like, what is the context that you've heard about it in?
I mean, that quote's been rattling all over the place, but I remember when the original controversy happened, and it's funny to think how, I guess those comments that he made were only like from like 5 years ago. Like, it's not even 10 years ago. Those are like 2015 comments where he basically just said exactly what like my Fox News watching parents think, which is, you're right. Like, that's a great way to get guns out of kids' hands. Just grab them and throw them up against a wall. And we pick on brown kids because that's where the crime happens. We put all the police officers in the brown neighborhoods because that's where the crime happens. And it's just like a self-fulfilling feedback loop that he's just reinforcing by saying that. And it's funny how at the time, I mean, I'm sure people didn't like it because there was a lot of controversy about stop and frisk, but the fact that those comments would be like somehow at all appropriate of a defense.
Yeah.
It's funny how much has changed in 5 years, which is actually a little bit heartening.
Well, Greg Gutfield on Fox News, a great person to reference, he actually said a similar thing to what you just said, except he said it like as if how disdainful he is of how woke people are now versus 5 years ago. That what he said 5 years ago, he's claiming wouldn't have been controversial, but because it is now, it's like unfair to judge him on that now.
Oh, because everyone's such a snowflake now about racism?
Yeah.
Greg Gutfield, failed comedian who's now like a Fox News talking head. I really care about his opinions on whether or not Bloomberg's comments were offensive.
Let's just talk for a second how pathetic and sad it is that there are actual hardworking comedians, especially who live in New York City, who need to suck up to someone as disgusting and hackish as Pig Vomit, a.k.a. Greg Gutfield, to get bookings on his stupid fucking show.
He is such like a Pig Vomit type, too.
Can you imagine how sad that would feel, though, to be... Like, that's the top of your pyramid. Like, if you get a Fox News booking as a comedian, man, you probably get more people to go to your next show, right?
And he thinks, like, he's made it. Like, he thinks he's legitimate, I think. I think he believes the hype. He thinks that it's on his own merits or it's some badge of... I guess like achievement to run one of these like joke of a television shows.
Well, the president regularly recommends people watch his show. So Shane asks, who the hell is this guy? Greg Gutfield, Shane, if you don't know, is sort of like a surrogate funny guy on Fox News who has his own show, and he's had it for a long time. It used to be called Red Eye. Now I think it's called, I want to say it's called The Five. Or something like that.
It's called the something. It's not called the Talk because that's a bunch of ladies. It's called something equally as inconsequential. It's like Fox and Friends in the evening, but it's like trying to be edgy. But it's mostly just like Greg Gutfeld, like just like channeling conservative boomer angst into like what it appears to follow, like the constraints of satire. But it's just so empty-headed and vapid.
Mm-hmm. And Michael Ian Black, for those who don't know, who went after Abby randomly one day on Twitter, and he did it. He went after her. He kept it up for like 5 days straight. It was nuts. He's sort of the surrogate liberal punching bag parody was on the Greg Gutfield show like a couple of years ago as just like the surrogate jester liberal who said dumb things to make fun of on the show. It was really odd.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah. The whole thing is just really, I mean, there are some comedians that we actually do think are funny that have appeared on this show.
Well, yeah,
too.
Patrice O'Neill. I mean, he used to go on Fox semi-regularly, and it's weird. It's still weird to me that someone, Roger Ailes, Rupert Murdoch, knew for a long time. This is way before the right wing took the mantle of we're for free speech. We don't want to be censored. That Fox News was somehow topping these edgelord comedians from New York City to be on their network like years before this sort of right-wing free speech phenomenon started. So I feel as if Fox was very savvy in a way. To
True.
Be booking people like that.
Here's the thing, like Patrice O'Neill.
CNN doesn't book people like that.
Patrice O'Neill he came fully formed and was always been the kind of person who says whatever the hell he wants to say. And that is like, it strengthens their, like, the perception of them as like having integrity and being like for whatever people want to say. But somebody like Michael Ian Black, it's like, I don't know if he was just like conditioned or he wanted to keep getting the paychecks or like why he would take up the mantle of like acting like that on Twitter while being the token liberal punching bag on these shows. And I barely could even watch him on these shows. It's like, he also, he's starred in like a really dumb nationwide like Sierra Mist campaign. Mm-hmm. So like this is a guy who's willing to do a lot of things for money.
Yeah, I mean that's probably where his face got out the most was Sierra Mist.
Yeah, so Greg Gutfeld, we just call him Pig Vomit because he literally looks like whoever Paul Giamatti's character is in
The Howard
the
Stern
Howard
movie,
Stern
yeah.
movie.
Private Parts.
Yeah, but I mean, Paul Giamatti is like 100 times more appealing, and probably whoever Pig Vomit is in real life, probably at least a few times more
Yeah.
appealing than Greg Gutfeld.
Well, we just went off on a total tangent on Greg Gutfeld, but the reason I brought him up was because he was defending Bloomberg stop and frisk stuff. The reason I asked you about it is because that's the context I largely understand stop and frisk, that it's a way to target minorities, mostly black and brown people in certain areas of New York City. But I think we've largely forgotten that stop and frisk is also attached at the hip to the war on terror. That it's largely emanated from that climate. That it wasn't. I don't think stop and frisk would have even been able to float in New York had it not been for 9/11 and the hysteria following it. And Michael Bloomberg is very integral to sort of the New York City PR front for Bush's war on terror. In fact, one of the most famous known thwarted terrorist attacks, which seems totally fake to me, is this Times Square bombing plot that Michael Bloomberg has taken credit for stopping in 2010.
About that.
It was one of the biggest, like, thwarted, this almost happened. It could have been devastating, but good old Bloomberg stopped it. He's a hero. And also, how weird is it that Michael Bloomberg has been sent letters with ricin and anthrax? I mean, it's just odd. And we're also talking about the same guy who, in an article, tried to dissuade researchers and forensic investigators from looking at the World Trade Center rubble.
Yes, that was an amazing. Yeah. I don't know if you probably tweeted it or something, but like that, the thing that you showed me was like really impressive, because it's like it just shows like clear talking points about like, yeah, like you don't need to really look into that stuff. There's no way to like look at a steel beam and know whether or not the building got blown up. So it's no big deal that we carted it all away. Like the fact that he took over in an immediate post 9/11 world, like after Giuliani as like the mayor, and just the fact that he has such a shady background. I don't know. I mean, it could be that he's trying to get Hillary in because she keeps hot sauce in her purse, and that'll really help with minority votes. I'm sorry, it's just really just cynical humor.
Tom Collector, yes, I do remember how awkward it was when Rudy guest appeared on SNL and cross-dressed. And for some reason in my mind, I'm remembering that was it not actually from SNL. It was from some kind of like gala for Rudy Giuliani. Maybe it was, but one of the best SNL sketches ever about Rudy Giuliani was when Chris Farley played his son. Because I don't know if you remember what Rudy Giuliani's son looked like, or still looks like. He's like a overweight, like redhead looking guy. He looks like kind of like Chris Farley. He even looked like him as a child, so it was like perfect casting. And there was a moment, I guess, where Rudy Giuliani did a speech once in New York, and his child kept like trying to grab the microphone, and, like climbing all over him and stuff.
Oh my God, I do remember that.
So it was what's the guy's name from Weeds? This SNL guy.
The SNL guy from
the tall
Weeds?
guy.
Kevin Nealon.
Kevin Nealon was playing Rudy, and Chris Farley was playing his son, like climbing all over him and going like "Dad, Dad," and like jumping on him while he's trying to do a speech. It was like one of the opening sketches to SNL. But yeah.
Yeah, the whole idea that like Rudy Giuliani still has anything to speak of in terms of like a career or the ability to like walk down the street at all is just like a testament to like, you know, like if you just like stay thugging, like don't ever let anybody get out from under your thumb, and just like do whatever you can to like amass like a network of, I don't know, like favors and power structures. It just seems like he's probably the dirtiest guy. He probably literally makes like Trump look like he's just kind of like doing what he needs to do to get by. Like he just seems like the absolute dirtiest guy, and he's the guy who handed the mantle over to Bloomberg. So you just have to wonder. Like Bloomberg obviously is like a better handle on his PR, and he doesn't drink at like 2 p.m. So.
Well, it was a baton pass of a cover-up, because I mean Rudy Giuliani definitely was the one who made the decision to clean up the pile so fast. So when Michael Bloomberg gets in as mayor, he had to keep up some level of the 9/11 cover-up going. And I just find that really fascinating, that this whole time I've been under the false impression, and not necessarily because Kevin Ryan, you know, didn't focus on Bloomberg, but Kevin Ryan in his book puts Rudy Giuliani as one of his, what he believes are the alternate 19 potential suspects for 9/11. I don't even think Bloomberg is mentioned in his book, but I really think now is the time. Everybody in this chat, if you want to do some digging, if you want to get into like internet sleuthing and researching, this could be a really interesting project to help connect together some of these threads of what was Michael Bloomberg's actual role and covering up any aspect of 9/11 or perpetuating the false war on terror paradigm? How many of these, arrests did he make in New York City that were based on like sting operations and things like that? Like convincing some Arab guy who lives in Queens to buy a pipe at a plumbing store and then arrest them for trying to make a pipe bomb. I mean, how many things like that happen under Bloomberg's watch? Probably a lot from what I've been reading.
Well, and remember how it was like when we went to 9/11 and it was like a full year. It was in the fall after 9/11. We went to New York and it was there was still like just like armed, I don't know, it looks like National Guard people or something, like forces, like people in camouflage carrying like assault weapons, like walking around the subways, walking down the street, just like an incredibly like militarized police presence. And that was the very first time I'd ever been to New York City. It was just like everywhere you went, it did actually feel like a police state lockdown for war.
And that was probably Michael Bloomberg's doing. I mean, it's not like the federal government, they have to collaborate with and get permission from the mayor. So that was pretty much the Bloomberg era that we were witnessing in New York. And that's really surreal to me how barely anyone references that era and how locked down and basically New York City, parts of it felt like it was under martial law for like 2.5 to 3 years after 9/11.
Yeah, that's martial law. It did feel like that. That's why we watched Alex Jones so religiously and thought that it was coming.
Yeah, we used to watch Alex Jones back then.
Every day.
But I mean, there were real signs of it. I mean, some of these soldiers in the subway looked like they were only like 19 years old. They had a scowl on their face, holding a machine gun. And I remember as a young, like 22, 23-year-old kid, I walked up to one and asked them if I could take a picture. And they were very unhappy about even being approached, talked to. It was a creepy climate. And there was militarized like tanks and stuff like in Wall Street.
Yeah, there was all those like
really creepy
Humvee type like armored vehicles everywhere and like things like just like a full year later. Yeah.
We don't have a subreddit, JC, but I was thinking of making one. Maybe a Media Roots radio subreddit would make the most sense, and then people can discuss things on this stream or in Empire Files, because Media Roots Radio comes out is probably the most. I don't know. Seems like that could work as an umbrella. I don't know. We can think about that though.
Yeah. So in honor of 9/11, never forget. Let's play Elevator Action Returns.
Yeah, let's do it. Sorry, and there also is a collapsing building
taste.
Right about at the beginning of this game. So yeah, you haven't actually played this before. So.
No, I saw you play it, and then didn't we play the first one together?
No, the first one is I think we tried to, and the first one is like very old school. It was made in like 1984, I think. So here we go. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna play Elevator Action Returns right now, and I'm still gonna try to talk. Well, we're still gonna try to talk to you guys while we play. It's got a weird sound bed, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like funk, Japanese like funk prog, which is very common here. Pick your character.
Oh yeah.
I'm Jad the Taft. So.
You've moved everything over, so it's really.
You're getting disoriented?
Yeah, I'm getting disoriented. Well, no, it's fine.
Put it here. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait. Are you going to have to walk me through the mission?
No. There's fucking fuck
There was just 3 things I have to remember to do.
No, we're fine.
All right.
Wait, what?
Whoa, glitched out. Oh, no. Hey! Come on, dude.
Get in.
Okay. Oops.
Just keep going
So
down.
I guess you're in trouble? I mean, I'm in charge? Okay.
What? Wait, so I can like leave you downstairs? Wait, you have a rocket launcher?
Yeah, I guess I do.
Holy shit, kill those people down there then.
Okay, I gotta get the elevator though.
Over the right or
There's
left.
a lot going on. Oh, there's another one.
Yeah.
Ooh, so complicated. Yeah, I watched you playing this and it seemed like a really cool.
Oh, I love that. That looks like Dead
good.
Connection.
Yeah, it does. Looks good.
The pixel art on this game is fucking fantastic.
Caution.
I don't know what that
is
means.
Are we gonna die?
I don't know. We have to get to the.
Oh no.
Oh, how sad.
Oh, I got smashed.
You did.
I didn't even realize that could happen.
I know. I didn't realize either. That's never happened. Oh, you got smashed again.
Great. I thought I spawned at the bottom.
Come.
This game is too complex for me. There's a
Come
lot
down
going
here.
on. I'm trying.
Come my way. All the way to the right.
Can I?
You
Oh.
can get that. I mean, I don't know what it does.
How do I do it? How do I
Down.
get it?
You gotta hold down. There you
Oh
go.
God. Okay. I like how sleazy the music is.
Yeah, I like it too. You can also shoot diagonally up if you ever need to.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Come. Go.
We're trying to go down.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
Although it won't let us go down anymore. So wait, what do we have to do? Oh, we have to go up there and get the data. It says
Are you
we missed
kidding?
it. No. Here, come this way. Come this way.
We looked at the data.
Come. Come this way. We missed the data.
Okay.
That's our mission.
Okay.
That's why we should have looked at the mission
See,
before.
I thought. See.
Here, this way. This
So
way.
I was right.
You were right.
Crush the old order. God, I love the '80s, like anti-capitalistic. Fucking. I don't like how much like animal murder there is in this
I know,
one,
there's a
too.
little too
The
much
fact that
animal
there's
murder.
like,
Come. Oh, you picked another guy, it looks like.
did I?
I don't know. Where are you?
Oh no, I have to
you have to
continue.
continue, yeah.
Yeah, this game is there's a lot going on.
Here, I'm just going to get the data since you're taking so long.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Okay, I got the data. So now we got to go back down.
Shit. Do we need anything else?
No, come.
Okay.
Wow.
Man. Okay.
This game is surprisingly violent for a Japanese arcade game.
Ah! Are you sure there's nothing else?
I'm sure, yeah, because it's not saying caution anymore. I think we walked past the actual part we were supposed to do, so it told us
boy.
caution.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now let's just go all the way down if we can. Oh, we can't. We have to go one more. Down. That red door down there, I think we have to go. I think. I just got something in that red door. Let's see. Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
Hilarious.
Create a new society.
Furious Psyop, you were
That's so
exactly
good.
right. It does look like Flashback. It does. This game kind of has a similar vibe to Flashback. And I would say that it's kind of like Flashback must have been inspired somewhat by the original elevator action and Prince of Persia. Almost like a hybrid of both games. Shit. I think you gotta come up here. I don't think we can get over there. Gotta go this way.
Oh, I see.
Flashback is an awesome game. They recently remade it for some reason, and they remade it using like all 3D graphics instead of the style of sprites. Even though in the original they used polygons to do some of the animation, it just doesn't. It takes something away from the game. It just seems unnecessary. I notice a lot of those HD remakes of old retro games that come out. They don't.
Caution? Did we forget to do something?
Oh yeah, we did.
Were we
We
supposed
gotta
to-
get up the red door. That's what we gotta do. Has anyone done any research on Kim.com Mega? No, I haven't. But I used to actually think Kim.com had some cool shit to say. And now I just find him to be like a fraud and like a charlatan after what he did with that Seth Rich stuff. So I don't know how he made his money, to be honest. That would be interesting to find out. I mean, if we take it at face value, it just seemed like he made his money mostly off of like copyright infringement. Even though Mega Upload or whatever was probably used by a lot of people who didn't do copyright infringement. I mean, most of the people did. I don't really have a problem with copyright infringement, but I mean, it's probably like he got in early enough on that to make a lot of money. How's the audio sounding to you guys?
Oh wait, I forgot the mission objectives.
Ah, fuck it.
Ooh.
He says that Mega is owned by the New Zealand government. Wow, that's strange. That's very strange.
That could be based on like a lot. There's a lot of like government subsidization of industry in New Zealand.
Yeah. I mean, from what I understand, a lot of like prepper type oligarchs, really rich people, move to New Zealand because they think if the world goes into like a nuclear holocaust, that New Zealand will be like the least affected by it or something. There's some rationale by why a lot of these really rich people relocate to New Zealand.
Were we supposed to get some kind of data?
We got to go in there? Yeah, get the data there. See, I'm getting it, honey.
Okay.
I got it. I got the data, dude. So now I don't know where we're supposed to go.
Probably this way. Oh no.
Can I go to the left? Can I go this way? Yes, I can. There you go.
Oh no, I'm gonna die.
Oh no, you got crushed, dude.
I know. My little sprite's so slow.
Here, come. At least let's get to the 3rd level of this game.
Okay.
I don't think there's any bosses in this game either, is what I'm noticing.
Yeah, I think it's just like continually just keep on playing forever.
No, I just got crushed. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna be the girl now.
Okay.
Are there 2 girls, or is that supposed to be a guy character?
I don't know. If there were 2 girls, I'd be slightly impressed.
This way.
Oh, I want that.
One other thing I wanted to talk about is Michael Avenatti and how much of a shame it is that he was the one representing Stormy Daniels during that whole fiasco, because I feel like she had a legit story to tell, and she basically got wrapped up with like a fraudster lawyer who's now being, I guess, convicted of for committing like a huge amount of fraud against Nike or something. I thought that was a shame, and I guess she's now suing him for damages. So Stormy Daniels is suing Michael Avenatti as he's pending like criminal sentencing for something else. But one of the things I find so funny about it is how the right exploits something like that. So they'll take, they did it with Jussie Smollett, where they basically talked for like a whole year about that and made it seem like all hate crimes were fake because that he might have lied about this one incident.
Huh.
But on Fox News right now, they're basically spent a whole day yesterday making fun of CNN and MSNBC for hiring,
This
or
is
not
so
hiring.
Cool. Did you see us go
Yeah,
inside
of
the
course.
plane?
For platforming somebody like Michael Avenatti, who's a criminal, and taking somebody like that seriously. I find that really ironic and just kind of disgusting, because I don't know if you guys watch Fox News, but they literally employ Oliver North, who was an Iran-Contra felon. But Laurie and I were talking about this earlier, and I guess the reason that's okay is because he committed a felony in the doing a patriotic duty
He's
for
a
his
true
own.
patriot.
Yeah, he's a true patriot for his own country, so that's okay. However, the other one that's more interesting to me is that Tucker Carlson and other people on Fox News platform a guy who was arrested for taking Israeli bribes named Bernard Kerik. And that's not the only interesting thing about Bernard Kerik. I mentioned him here yesterday on the podcast. He was the first official... Come on this elevator, honey. He was the first official in New York City to drop the official story of how the buildings collapsed from a pancake collapse before anyone had studied them, before anyone knew what the hell was going on. About 5 p.m. on the day of 9/11, Bernard Kerik, who's constantly platformed on Fox News, said that he knew how the buildings collapsed, and it was from like a pancake collapse. Let's go this way. Can we go this way? Or is- No, I guess
think
not.
We have to go back up.
So you got the data now. Where do we go with it? So I don't know. I just find it hilarious that they have this holier-than-thou attitude, and even someone who's supposedly anti-establishment is platforming this neocon guy who obviously had some kind of role in 9/11. Like, he's like one of the most sleazy, suspicious guys ever, and he also spent time in jail for embezzling and taking Israeli bribes. Bernard Kerik, look him up.
Careful, don't get smashed.
And yeah, it's true that Oliver North was more of the fall guy, for sure. Interestingly, Robert Kagan actually worked with Oliver North when he was very young at the U.S. State Department, helping create a slush fund to smear the Sandinistas.
Oh.
And who knows where some of that money came from? Are you losing interest in this game?
I mean,
It's hard.
it's hard,
Yeah.
and there's no bosses.
Yeah. Should we go to Ninja Spirit?
Yeah, let's play a little Ninja Spirit.
Okay. So yeah, we kind of this game. While this game is really cool, it's not quite the two-player arcade excitement we were looking for.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, guys.
Let's switch games real quick, and then also let me just Google Kim.com's wife.
His wife? Why did someone bring up his wife?
Mm-hmm.
Bought himself a hot wife, like a mail order braid.
Well, a mail order
Braid. You know who else bought themselves a hot wife? And I mean, I don't consider usually women who are like 19 years old that hot, but Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, totally has like a sugar daddy relationship with some like amateur high school cheerleader. You know about this?
Wait, what?
Scott Adams lives in Pleasanton.
Yeah,
the
I know
town
that.
Laurie and I grew up in.
We know that.
The
Dilbert
Dilbert creator. And he's like sugar daddying some like young girl who's like right out of high school, and he's acting like they're just like in love, and it's not a sugar daddy relationship.
Yeah,
It's
she's
like
probably
the
just with
fakest
him
shit
for
ever.
his mind and his personality. Oh my god.
You see it?
Yeah, holy shit.
Mhm.
It literally looks like a dad and his daughter. This looks horrifying. This is really
Don't be
weird.
ageist, honey. I'm just kidding.
You're right. I mean, she's
No.
a grown adult, and I'm sure there's no unhealthy power dynamics, and she's really self-possessed, and he's probably just in love with her beautiful mind because he's such an intellectual, cerebral guy.
So I'm going to tell this story again on here because I haven't told it except for maybe once on Media Roots, and I don't know if anybody really remembers it, but I already knew who Scott Adams was, not just from being the creator of Dilbert. Laurie and I grew up in Pleasanton, California, where Scott Adams tried to open this like kind of middle brow,
Yeah.
quasi-fancy restaurant called
quasi-fancy.
Stacy's when I was growing up. So like I knew that the Dilbert creator had this restaurant, and
It used to have good food like the first year it was open.
it did
when
actually.
We were actual
yeah, the
kids.
food was decent, but I remember being so weirded out by the vibe in the restaurant. There was this mural on the wall that was painted, professionally painted by someone, and it was like a terrible mural that had Scott Adams and I guess his original wife in the picture.
His original wife, who's like the same age as him.
Yeah, I think we need to hold on, let me make sure. How do we get two players going on here?
Are you sure it's not alternating? I feel like it alternates maybe.
No,
Player one
no
ready?
way.
Oh,
It doesn't.
okay.
No.
Yeah, look at Tom Collector's comment. Wait, I want to know why you would take a tour of Scott Adams' house. Was it on the market and you were just curious? 100% tan colored is kind of like a rich suburban vibe, like in the suburban sprawl in which we grew up, like before like all white houses were like considered anything but like American Psycho territory. I think a lot of people had like all beige.
Yeah.
It's just like the classiest thing you could do if you live in like a little McMansion in Pleasanton.
So, excuse me.
Wait, and he was on Joe Rogan? What the fuck is he doing on Joe
Oh,
Rogan?
weird. I didn't realize he was.
Good God.
Well,
Joe Rogan will have anybody on.
He predicted that Trump would win. So, I mean, he's not a total moron. But the weird thing is, in his prediction that Trump would win, he talked about how Trump has neuro-linguistic programming abilities and he can do like hypnotism with his voice, and that he's like a master wizard hypnotist, and that he can like manipulate people with his like rhetoric and his voice. So it was really odd that Scott Adams became like a diehard MAGA after that. You would think that he would be like, yeah, this guy's kind of dangerous because he does have these skills. Instead, Scott Adams just totally went along with the MAGA movement. But to make a long story short, Abby and I used to write in his guest book at the restaurant and just diss on him when we were like in high school and talk about how shitty Dilbert was like in the book. And we just did it. We did it so much that there was probably like dozens and dozens of guest book entries in his restaurant book where it's just Abby and I talking shit about him before we had any idea like anything about him.
Well, as a daughter of a white collar slave, like my dad was very into Dilbert. We had literal Dilbert books.
Oh, cute.
And Dilbert satirizes office culture, but without like it like offers up these like existential, like bleak, cynical, like kind of like hot take like jokes about like poking fun at like how terrible office life is or how ridiculous it is, without like any. It's not Calvin and Hobbes. There's nothing radical about it. It doesn't actually have anything to say. He probably embraced commercializing and like merchandising his product more than like anybody else besides like Garfield
True.
or Kathy.
Well, there was a while where Dilbert seemed to be the number one
Yeah.
cultural comic strip. Like it was there was like a moment, 2 or 3 year moment. He had a cartoon on TV, mugs in every
I forgot there was an
greeting
actual
card
cartoon.
store. There would be merch. You could get dolls
Yeah.
of Dilbert.
It's
Yeah.
no Doonesbury, and I preferred Get Fuzzy actually. I thought that was a better satire of Garfield.
Yeah. So let's see if we can restart this and actually.
Yeah, let's stop talking about beige ass Scott Adams. That video is weird. It's worth looking at because when you watched it, right when Trump came out, you were kind of like, oh, this guy's kind of indicting his whole MO of like talking the way he talks, and now it's just like, oh no, this guy's into it. Like he was like promoting it. He was an early
really
adopter.
strange, yeah. Wait,
it was
hold on a
weird that
second.
it could kind of go both ways though.
I feel like the game just automatically starts.
Did you maybe dream that it was 2 players?
Here, no, I didn't dream it. I gotta die first. So something's wrong with so let me die first. Let it get to the attract screen. This is definitely a 2-player simultaneous game because the demo shows 2 players. That'd be weird if it was fake. Like
we
can you
didn't
imagine
build
a
that
video
out.
game?
Well,
Yeah, like
I can't imagine
showing
a
a
video game.
demo of like 2 players having a blast
There's
like on the
something
screen
in video
together.
game and like just development, like MVP. It means minimum viable products. What usually comes out is often a MVP.
What do you guys think of Jordan Peterson's coma, medically induced coma from benzodiazepine addiction?
Wait, is he?
He went to Russia for he disappeared for like a few months, and then apparently he got so deep into benzodiazepine addiction that he had to go into like a Rush Limbaugh style medically induced coma. And I don't know if he did that to sober up to wean off of it, or if it was something else.
He obviously did.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well,
No.
wait.
Rich people can get put into medically induced comas to detox from alcohol and all sorts of things.
I know, but I think that he actually apparently like overdosed.
Oh.
Like it wasn't just that. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Wait,
actually.
so Jordan Peterson has literally, no wonder he has no capacity for self-reflection to realize what a dipshit he is, because he's been on benzos the past couple decades.
Wait a second.
No,
This
it says 2-player. I think it really is switch off. Just play and see if it switches, because it has the 2-player thing up at the top.
Yeah, but this is a bummer. I don't understand why we can't do 2 players simultaneous.
I feel like a bad Scott Adams anti-fan to not know that he's written some faux Jordan Peterson style stuff. Oh, you're right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that,
Win
Tom.
bigly.
That's interesting. I
So
had no
he
idea.
probably made that NLP video about Trump while he was actually writing this book, because this book came out in 2017.
Yeah, well, he did that video
Persuasion
in Reason
a world
magazine.
Where facts don't matter.
Yeah, he did that in Reason magazine, and Reason magazine is actually not really that pro-Trump. I mean, they're a libertarian magazine. They do pretty good stuff on sex work and stuff, but occasionally they will have like good articles on there. And I don't think he was really that right-wing at the time. I don't think he was. I mean, yeah, this is not a 2-player simultaneous game. Maybe I got tricked and saw the shadow version of the character. Should we play something else?
I mean,
What's another 2-player game that we haven't played together?
I don't know.
You want to do Tetris?
What's Ninja Kid 2? Oh,
Or should we do like Bust a Move or something?
we just played that.
Here, what's Parodius DA? Oh, no, it's not 2 players at the same time.
It doesn't look as good as it sounds.
Yeah, we're
Scott Adams says he's more left than Bernie. Oh man, maybe he needs to detox from benzos too.
That's weird.
That's a weird thing to think. My parents, who watch Fox News all day, every day, and will vote Trump until they die, also say we're really liberal. So, take that with a grain of salt, I guess. Nobody ever wants to be the baddies. Nobody ever says, I have terrible views. I'm really objectionable. I don't care about other people.
Okay, here's what I think we should play. Either Prehistoric Isle in 1930 or Prehistoric Isle 2. Do you remember we played one of these? Should we play the second one? Because it's just really over the top.
Oh, let's play it. Because it's like Boogie Wings meets
Primal
Cowboys
Rage.
and Dinosaurs, or whatever it's called. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
This game, I never played this in the arcade. I never even heard of it, but it's like got really hard worked on graphics, and it's like all pre-rendered assets. It's kind of over the top. Let's give it a spin.
Scott Adams is really proud that he's in Mensa. Basically, IQ tests are already like very racially, culturally, and class biased. And I'm sure he's not a dumb guy, but the idea that you would like say being in like an opt-in, pay your dues organization and be like proud of it. It's like saying you're proud to be in a fraternity. Great. Like nobody cares except your other fraternity bros.
Are you coming at me?
Oh yeah.
So this is Prehistoric Isle 2. As you can see,
Shit.
it's a side-scrolling shooter.
I can't tell what I'm supposed to actually be shooting at.
I know, right? It's a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
So a lot of things don't seem like they take damage. Wait, I'm supposed to help that guy? Okay. Wait, look at.
Oh
He's
my
hanging
God.
off my.
It's Boogie Wing style.
Yeah.
Is this made by the same people?
No, I don't think so. I don't even know who this one is made by.
Really?
Yeah.
I love how bombastic the music is.
Wait, so we don't even get hurt?
I don't understand. Is this on easy mode? Is it
No,
on demo?
I don't know.
Okay. Is this a children's game?
It seems kind of like it. It's not a very hard side-scrolling shooter.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think you have a special weapon,
Oh
too.
my God, those little pterodactyl guys, like the little digitized, those look really good. Why do those look so good?
Nice animation.
It is really nice.
Yeah.
It's like nice and smooth. And my little helicopter guy. Oh no, it's one hit kills though.
Is
I
it?
don't like that. Or maybe a couple hits. I don't know. All I know is a pterodactyl just took me the fuck out. Defend people. Okay, so we have people to defend. I don't think you're supposed to blow them up.
Somebody earlier in here asked what I think about Ro Khanna, or what we think about Ro Khanna. Do you know anything about him, Laurie?
I
Do you have
mean,
any opinion
he's
on
not
him?
Mo Khanna. Remember Mo Khanna?
No, I don't remember him. Who is Mo Khanna?
He's the guy from fucking Daily Show.
Oh God.
No, Mo Rocca.
Yeah,
sorry.
Mo Rocca.
And I haven't even.
Mo
fucking
Rocca
read
knows Conor Habib.
Really?
I think they're friends. Yeah.
Oh. Where did he go? He kind of disappeared after.
Well, he's in Ireland.
Oh no.
Oh, Mo Khanna? Oh
Mo
no,
Rocca.
Mo Rocca. No, I'm actually not. I'm confusing him with that other guy who used to have that show on Comedy Central. Totally wrong guy.
No. I'm thinking of like very like early aughts '90s Daily Show. No, I don't really think about Ro Khanna. Sorry.
Carl, you must be watching on a slight delay. We thought Ninja Spirit was a 2-player simultaneous game, but it turns out it's not. So we switched on to a Prehistoric Isle 2. What the fuck?
I don't understand what this game is.
You can't. It's like a lot of things don't seem to hurt you.
And
they just like run into the screen.
Yeah, the depth is not really conveyed properly.
What?
Ooh,
That's
that was
hilarious.
fun.
This reminds me of like a bad version of what you could put together with the same type of sprites and people who worked on like Killer Instinct. In some ways, the animation is really smooth on some of these assets, but surprisingly touch me. Okay, I'm touching them. Ha!
Oh, how cute! I had to touch it with my little guys so they could get
Hey,
in.
John, how's it going?
Hi, John. Warning. Something's approaching.
Okay, so this is the first boss, I guess.
Okay. How do we get into these sewers?
I can't tell if we're hurting him.
I don't think we are yet.
So I have 2 bombs. You have 4 bombs left, it says.
Oh, okay. What the fuck?
Excuse me?
None of that was anything.
Yeah, you know, the hit boxes and the way the sprites interact on this game is like probably the weakest thing about it.
Okay, well.
Shit, I just got destroyed, dude. So now it's turning a little challenging, I guess.
Okay. Damn it. What? Oh, man.
I mean, this is like the only challenging part of the game so far. That's like slightly challenging.
What a curve, though.
You got me. Motherfucker got me.
Oh, good.
A lot of slowdown happening too.
Yeah, this background seems unnecessary. Okay. Huh.
Cute.
It's pretty cute.
Game.
Ooh. That little fill. That was really
The
good.
grappling hook is the best weapon. Rotate the joystick to have the hook fly around you. Are we?
Wait.
Oh, you're talking about Ninja Spirit. Yeah. We're not on Ninja Spirit anymore.
Oh, man.
I like this music.
Huh. Who do you think's going to drop out next from the race?
Oh wait, I forgot to answer the Ro Khanna question.
Oh, sorry.
The Ro Khanna thing. I don't think he's that good. I mean, I think he's kind of naive actually. And it's hard to judge someone just based on their Twitter account, but it's also not. I mean, if you're a politician and you tweet dumb things, I'm going to notice it. And I think he's pretty weak. Although he's somehow taken the mantle of being like an anti-war politician right now. I mean, I think he's like weaker than Bernie in terms of like foreign policy, which is fairly weak. So I don't know. I don't really care for him that much. And I thought that he was dumb for saying that he thought Tucker Carlson was doing like fantastic work on Fox News. I mean, but you asked me who do I think is going to drop out next. I mean, good question. I would say Elizabeth Warren maybe might. I could see her dropping out next. What do you think, Laurie?
Yeah, that's what I would.
That would be your guess, or
Yeah.
your hope, or I mean, who do you think would be the most likely to drop out?
Well, I think she'll drop out before Biden.
Okay.
She's too pragmatic to hold out longer than he would. He could possibly hang on long enough to fuck everything up.
Biden?
Yeah.
Well, he did skip his party, his campaign party in New Hampshire, and went straight to Nevada. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. So
and
it
people
seems
were
like
shocked as part of his campaign.
Well, you know, I
They
feel
were,
like that was
waiting for
almost a
him.
non-story to show that like Biden's willing to do whatever he needs to do, and he's like the stories right before that were like he's so confident about South Carolina, he's not even worried about the fact that he knows he's going to
Sure.
lose New Hampshire. And it's like, well, if he's so fucking confident, why did he skip his party and race over?
That's the spin. I mean, obviously, letting down all those people from your campaign like that and not showing up and just abandoning them I think is a sign that he is potentially going to drop out fairly soon. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope so.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
Or he'll just, I mean, God, yeah, like, who do you think Bernie will pick one of these assholes as a running mate if he ends up as the nom? Do you think he'll pick
Oh God,
Warren
I
or
hope
something?
not.
I mean,
if Bernie picks Warren or one of the other people on the stage with him, like I'll probably just vote a third party in the general election.
I mean, it depends. I want to say that I'll vote for him.
I'll only vote for Bernie in the general election if he actually picks someone that's like pretty radical seeming to me.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he's not going to do that though. He's probably going to do something more to try to please the centrist people. Strategically, that would probably be like the thing that I'm sure that everybody would be recommending him to do. What do you
John
think?
says Bernie will pick Tulsi. John, is that a joke?
No, it's not a joke. I don't think John really believes that, but it's a lot of people
God,
think that that's their dream ticket.
Oh.
And I don't know if you guys already know this, but there is a lot of animosity between both campaigns. It's been playing out on a subtle level on Twitter, but I've seen plenty of evidence to suggest that there is a lot of animosity there, even including from Tulsi's own family members. Her sister, her husband have said things about Bernie. Bernie's campaign have said things that I guess were not technically true, that, we're technically trying to sort of erase some of Tulsi's voting record. So I don't really know. I think that's a very unlikely outcome. And I also wouldn't vote for Bernie. Absolutely not. If he picked Tulsi as his VP, I would vote third party. Absolutely not. I can never vote for someone like Tulsi Gabbard.
Well, I mean, I know it's very easy for me to not vote major party because I literally have never voted for a main party, and I've never voted a major party in any general election. So if Bernie makes the nom and I'm not too disgusted by his running mate, then that'll be the first time in my adult life I've not voted third party for the general. But that's just my privilege of growing up in California.
Also, there's a possibility that Bernie's going to get worse between now and the general election. To assume that he's going to become more hardcore in his rhetoric, more aggressive, more radical, I think would be overly hopeful. I think we probably should expect him to become more milquetoast as it gets closer to the election and try to mold himself to be more appealing to
Sure.
centrists.
He's held out pretty well. I mean, oh gosh, yeah, Barbara Lee would be a dream ticket. Nobody would vote for her. She's way too radical.
Well, it's weird. She was radical. She's radical in certain ways, but in certain ways she's really bad. So she has a really mixed record. I mean, she was the only person to cast a no vote for the AUMF, which was amazing, and I'll always admire her for that, of being the lone no vote. But at the same time, she has gone along with stuff with Russiagate. She's pushed out a lot of bad rhetoric, going along with some neoliberal foreign policy excursions, and there's really no one who has a clean record. I mean, that's the problem. Like, none of these people have a clean record where they're always going against war, where they're always voting the right way. Everybody has problems. Oh God, yeah. Emery Mort. I remembered that. I didn't remember that until you just said it. But Emery Mort says Barbara Lee endorsed Kamala Harris. She apparently is kind of on the short list.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Yeah, I somebody saying your vote is yours. Like, a candidate does need to earn my vote. When people ask me why I don't vote for Hillary or whoever the fuck it is they think I should vote for in every election, I just say, well, because they don't represent my interests. I'm waiting for a candidate that I can believe in, and that's the person that I vote for. And if everybody thought that way, the world would maybe be slightly more functional, and we'd have a functional multi-party system to reflect that. But everyone just kind of falls in line.
Yeah, I mean, this is why the Democrats and Republicans, this is why we need more third-party representation, even in the Congress and Senate. I mean, Bernie being an independent is just not good enough. We need someone who's like actually like a green or a socialist or something actually truly radical to be in there to show what being, really anti-imperialist really means in terms of like votes you can cast. And there really isn't anybody representing. I mean, it's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. Like, my working theory, and I'm no political theorist, is just the fact that like conservative people, it's very easy for them to fall into like a lockstep, and it's much harder. We have this big tent that's supposed to represent all these liberal interests, and it's already like so compromised and so fractured. It's just incredibly hard to galvanize people against somebody. That's why it's like you can't even say that like Bernie's that terrible, because he's really not compared to most people. But like the entire last election was colored by like this idea that there's like a certain type of Bernie bro, which I guess maybe that feels real to people who spend more time on Twitter. Robbie knows I certainly don't spend hardly any time on Twitter, and most of the people I know who support Bernie support him for like real reasons, like they identify with his platform and stuff. Most of the people supporting Warren or anybody else are supporting them because they think that they're electable. So it's like a very lesser of two evils argument. Like, they just want them in there because they're not Trump is not good enough.
Well, and that's the scary thing too. If it comes down to, especially Bloomberg and Hillary versus Trump, I mean, I'm not saying I would vote for Trump. I just might not even vote at all. Like, I don't know. I mean, I honestly think Bloomberg, it could be worse than Donald Trump.
Yeah, because he has the decorum and he has the finesse to get really terrible stuff done and then be able to talk lucidly in a way that tells people, oh, this is reasonable. At least Trump, it's like still hasn't become fully normalized how he conducts himself, and how the administration behaves is still like every day it's a new scandal. Nobody's ever held accountable for it truly, but it's still just like an outrage.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that Abby was saying, that having Pence in there would generate more of a coherent resistance against the current administration. There's all different ways to look at it. But yeah, there won't be as much outrage if Bloomberg is president, and there probably will be more bad things being done without the media covering them. But right now, it's not like the media is doing a very good job covering the actual bad things Trump is doing. I mean, like the idea of lessening Roger Stone's sentence and then firing Vindman, making that the headlines for the last 2 weeks about Trump. It's like those are really low on the scale of horrible things he's doing as president. So whatever resistance against Trump that there is out there, it's really being overshadowed by this fake resistance.
Yeah, anybody can argue forever more that anything Trump does is simply just a low crime or misdemeanor. So it's not a good enough argument to just say that like Bloomberg will not be Trump, therefore he's like a more appropriate candidate. He's literally like, yeah, he's an actual billionaire. He's not like a fake on paper billionaire, like slick, like huckster scam guy. Like he will keep his shit tight. And like Hillary Clinton, to me, is somebody that like just seems just like an absolute unconscionable choice to be in charge of our nation at any cost. So she was never somebody that I would have voted for last time. And if she's on the ticket, yeah, like I mean the DNC literally
Horrifying.
has like they're supporting a PAC that's just like not Bernie. He's the front runner.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if there was like a anybody but Buttigieg PAC. People would consider it like homophobic or like just completely like antithetical to like what the DNC is supposed to do. But somehow it's like appropriate to have like an anybody but Bernie PAC, which just makes things more fractured.
Well, here's the crazy thing.
You're on Bloomberg right now.
Yeah, I'm on Bloomberg right now.
I was like, why are you not on 538?
Here's the crazy thing is that even though Bernie Sanders technically got more votes in Iowa and New Hampshire, the delegate count right now in the 2020 primary is Pete Buttigieg has 22 delegates and Bernie Sanders only has 21. So this is, again, more evidence that it doesn't matter if someone wins a popular vote. It doesn't matter if one candidate's more popular than the other one. The delegates can essentially choose whoever they want. I mean, they're not beholden, I think, to the actual vote count is the strange thing.
Well, that's the whole idea is like the delegation, like the way that it works for these, we all learned last time is people can vote whatever they want to vote. So, yeah, they can all get there and decide to go with another candidate. Like it's not a binding thing.
Yeah.
So even if Bernie's ahead by like a bit of a margin, there could be like some sort of internal,
of course,
schism.
Especially if it's this close. If it wasn't this close, that's why people like Jimmy Dore and others like me have been saying that Bernie needed to overwin, because if he doesn't overwin, then they can just be like, well, it was so close anyways, and we like Pete more. I mean, like they can rationalize why they're cheating Bernie out of the nomination if it's close enough. And that's the only reason why he really has to overwin. But what else was I going to say? Someone was saying, was it Tara Toddler who said something up here that I wanted to address? Oh yeah, Tara Toddler says, Robbie, did you watch the Nico, Jacob, and Guy debate on Bernie Tulsi? I did not. And Tara Toddler says, apparently Nico says some really, really weird stuff about Kashmir, India, in liberating to ensure progressive policies like gay marriage. Well, that's the danger, Tara Toddler, in opening your mind in any way to neoconservative propaganda, because if Nico did that, I haven't seen the debate, that is pinkwashing, essentially. It's acting like people who obliterate Muslims and who do like horrific things to their populace, well, at least they have gay marriage, so that's great. It's like what Israel's been trying to do. We just actually recorded an episode of Media Roots Radio all about how Israel spent millions and millions of dollars on this pinkwashing campaign to attract gays from all over the world to come to Israel because it was such a free society. And they did it in order to like rub it in the faces of like Palestinian territories and be like, you're not pro-gay marriage or whatever.
Yeah.
It's called pinkwashing. It's actually an imperialist neocon paradigm to use things like gay rights to push imperialist agendas. And that's very sad if that's where he's going in to try to double down on supporting Modi, because that's kind of predictable. If you're already so openly embracing a candidate who only 5 years ago said that the reason she was conflicted about torture is because she doesn't know if a terrorist is about to launch a ticking time bomb, if we should torture them or not to get like the password
Just
or whatever.
fully
But she
buying
doesn't
into
literally
the
say
mythos.
everything I just said, but she buys into a Dick Cheney neoconservative ticking time bomb scenario. If you can allow that in and not think that it's weird or unsettling, then you're going to start going along with pinkwashing. You're going to start going along with Islamophobia.
Well, it's the Russian thing too. Like, remember, like when the anti-Russian sentiment, that was one of the things that they used was like that it's anti-gay over there. So
of course,
it's a
yeah.
terrible country.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to Israel, as I mentioned on the last podcast. I don't want to keep mentioning this every week, but yeah, you can live in an authoritarian state currently waging a slow motion Holocaust against people, and you could still smoke weed and be gay and go to raves out in the desert and eat your organic food and feel like you have a lot of freedom. Like, we live in America where we can smoke weed and be gay and say whatever we want, but it doesn't mean that we're living in some sort of like, you know, like liberal ideals paradise. Like, those two things are not, it's a real false equivalency to say that because you have this thing, it must be good or it must be bad. Like, I'm sure Russia has a lot of good and bad things about it, but, you know, Dan Savage, which you've brought up before, and like all those people bringing up Stolichnaya vodka and like boycott it because Russia's anti-gay. It's like a lot of our allies will literally you'll be highly discriminated against doing anything like against the mainstream. Like there's many
Yeah.
countries that we're super tight with. Like
Well, Saudi Arabia being
yeah,
a big one. You cannot be gay in Saudi Arabia.
you
You'll be
cannot. You'll be
executed.
dead.
I mean, it's even more of a harsh law than we try to paint. Iran. We point to Iran constantly as being intolerant of gays in society. Well, Saudi Arabia is far less tolerant, and um, yeah, it's all pinkwashing.
Yeah.
The gay law thing here was a total Obama like psyop to try to launch an information war against Russia, and it's really interesting how much of an integral role Dan Savage played in helping launch that psyop. In fact, he actually worked with the Obama administration on record doing the "It Gets Better" campaign. So it's not a stretch to suggest that Dan Savage was literally launching an AstroTurf protest movement on behalf of the Obama administration. I think it's actually quite likely, and it's also really suspicious that Dan Savage used to promote Jamie Kirchner of all people. I mean,
Well, he's gay. That's why.
yeah,
So if it aligns with your identity politics to make an assumption that, well, this person's gay or this person is in favor of sex workers' rights, so that all the rest of their politics must be good. Like it is, yeah, the pinkwashing, people like to believe that people are like them. So if you can find something that's a real touch point for people, and if you can make a good PR campaign about it, you can do a lot of damage and get people to, like, I definitely had a lot of people come up to me, like, when Abby
yeah,
still worked at RT or, like, afterwards, and they were just like, oh, Russia, like, it's so terrible over there. And that's just because of the media. It's just
they
like the
don't know.
saturation
Yeah,
point. Like, it's terrible over here to be gay. Like, we live in the Bay Area, but, like, try walking up and down the street in, like, many areas being gender nonconforming or being,
like where
like,
Abby
very
just was,
flaming.
Georgia.
Even just when I was a teenager, or when I was like 20 or something, like that poor girl Gwen Araujo, like in Fremont, got fucking murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And that those things are still happening like every single day. It's like, it's funny that these politicians care so much about gay people in other countries when trans people are getting murdered on the streets by people, and we still don't have like protections against that. Like that to me is shocking. Like if you want to put America like first because we live here, and like deal with the shit that you have at home before you talk shit about other people's like social policies, that I think that's a better way to go about it.
Well, it's totally phony. It's used to dunk on other countries and make us look morally superior.
Yeah.
It's such phoniness. Um, and yeah, what did Terror Toddler says? Robbie, did you see that a former Infowars producer came out and said that the Sharia hype was all made up? Yes, I did see that, and that's not surprising. It's really sad to me that any people played into that paradigm. I mean, it's obviously so false. They don't even understand what Sharia law is, technically speaking. Um, it's just so misinformed. Um, and all this weird fear mongering that Sharia law was coming to the United States and shit. It's just like, where did, like, it's so bizarre how that actually became like a thing that got legs and floated around in the right wing media sphere.
Well, there's plenty of countries with justice systems that make like dispensations, or have like sort of supra, like just like another set of laws for people who follow a certain religion or of a certain culture, and we don't make bones about it. Like it's not a big deal to us. So like anytime something like this comes out in the news, is like, did you realize that this is happening and these poor people are being disenfranchised? This particular identity group that has more support here than they do there. Look what they're doing to them. It's like, it's always like, I always just like see a political football being launched. Like
Yeah.
it's never like, oh, this is a call to action because something really is happening in the world. There's always an agenda behind it.
Yeah. So back to the Modi thing. I mean, I need to read up on it a lot more, but I already have enough foundational knowledge to know that the campaign in India is extremely Islamophobic, to say the least. I mean, they have allowed or enabled the murder of something like over 150 Muslims since Modi got in. I mean, probably more than that. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to have time to read David's story today on the podcast or on the stream. But David, if you're watching MAME Politics today, I promise I will read your whole story on tomorrow's episode. It's a really important story that I want to share with everybody. And yeah, Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. But yeah,
Okay.
hopefully I'll join you tomorrow afternoon, and we'll do another one of these,
Yeah.
and we'll pick some games that we'll pre-play to ensure that we can just get right into it. But thanks everybody. Sorry there was a lot of questions about us and everything that we just kind of focused on the politics stuff, but it's very sweet to me that everybody seems to like me joining on these. It's very fun. So
Hey, Joanne, I haven't seen you in here yet. How's it going? Joanne's the host of Around the Empire podcast with Daniel Wright.
Nice.
Remember
Awesome.
him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Unfortunately, we're wrapping up. We're wrapping up, Joanne. But you should be able to watch the replay. This one will be going public, and if anybody wants to get access to all of the locked, hidden episodes of MAME Politics, about 1/3 of them that I have streamed so far are only available to my Patreon subscribers after they stream. You can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $5 a month to get access to all of those at patreon.com/Robbie Martin. We have a new episode of Media Roots Radio coming out about pinkwashing that you guys are really going to enjoy. And yeah. And what else is going on?
We talking about Abby's suit probably.
Yeah,
in the next episode?
we're doing another episode that's going to come out as well, all about Abby's lawsuit filing, how important that is, and also just the coincidental nature of the UN releasing like a BDS list of all the businesses that do business in the settlements, which is weird timing because when I saw that Israeli Prime Minister tweet about BDS, like I thought, are they talking about Abby's lawsuit? Like what's going on? It's really creeped me out and scared me actually, but apparently the timing was really coincidental that the UN had released this list. The Israeli Prime Minister was probably talking about that.
I think they knew that it was coming though. It was like an awaited list, but it was hard for
they
me to
didn't.
find links to the actual list when I saw usually there's like a link where you can look at all the countries. I found it very hard to find all those countries.
Yeah, that Laurie was trying to actually find the list.
Or find all the companies.
They kind of buried it, but yeah, they didn't care. The people who helped her file that lawsuit, they did not know that was coming. So it was a coincidence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is kind of serendipitous, really good timing that those two things sort of happen at once. So let's keep fighting the good fight. Support BDS. And yeah, everybody, hope you guys have a good rest of your Saturday. Have a good day.
See ya.
We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.